Portugal have won 2025 Nations League, and I can't lie, guys. I'm just looking at the faces of Cristiano Ronaldo, the faces of the Portugal players, how distraught some of the Spain players are. And I think it confirms one thing. The Nations League is starting to be taken very, very seriously. This was a tournament that a few years ago when it was first kind of created by UEFA that everybody kind of sneered at. I think De Bruyne famously came out and basically said players don't really care about this. It's too many games. And I still kind of hear the argument about there being way too many games in the football calendar for players. But at the same time, awards and trophies and competitions are only taken as serious as the players kind of take it. And I think this year in particular, for the first time, I've really seen players put a lot of stock into the Nations League. Like the last game, Spain versus France, I was looking at Yamal before the game. There's talk about him versus Dembele, him versus Mbappe. The Portugal game versus Germany, and this one as well too. This was a very, very tense game where both teams were almost terrified of making mistakes at times. And I'm sorry, that kind of stuff only happens when the players actually really take it seriously. So first and foremost, shout out to the Nations League because it's not a tournament I would have taken seriously before this year, but I think it is starting to become something that you have to take a bit of stock from because clearly the competition is pretty good. But I think Portugal deserved this win. Now, before the game, I think Spain would have definitely come in as favorites because they were so overwhelmingly brilliant against France, and Portugal beat Germany, but like it wasn't the greatest game. And I think Spain are a bit younger, they're a bit fresher, they're a bit cooler. But Portugal, I thought over the stretch of this game were actually the better team. And although they go into the first half at halftime down 2-1, I think it was a bit unfortunate. I think they actually created a few chances themselves. I think they played pretty well. And one player in particular for me this game was just absolutely ridiculous. And honestly, I think he's put together, first of all, one of the best seasons from a left back we've seen in the last few years. But this game in particular is one of the best games from a left back. I don't want to sound like a dramatic or like hyperbolic here, but that's a perfect game for a left back. That right there is a perfect game for a left back. What Nuno Mendes just kind of contributed over the course of 120 minutes in a penalty shootout, what more can you really ask from your left back? He did everything. He locked up one of the best players in the world, for some people the best player in the world, and Yamal. By the way, a Yamal who in big games at this point in his career is pretty much flawless. He almost always seems to turn up. Today, Mendes pretty much made him obsolete in that second half. Going forward, such a threat carrying the ball every single time he gets it. He's so good at dribbling the ball up the pitch and bringing numbers forward, whipping the ball in, getting the cross for Ronaldo's equalizer, then scoring an amazing goal on his own in the first half as well too, with an amazing first touch to get himself into that open space and then drilling it into the far post. It was an amazing game from Nuno Mendes, capped off by an incredible penalty, unsavable if you ask me, and the penalty shootout. Mendes was brilliant, and I think you can never talk about Portugal without talking about Cristiano Ronaldo, who I've been very critical of in the last few tournaments. I feel like every single time he does play for Portugal over the last maybe 3 tournaments, right? The last World Cup, the last Euros. I'll say the last Euros before that he was pretty good, but the last Euros and the World Cup of 3 years ago, I've looked at Ronaldo at times and just thought to myself, you look off the pace. You really don't look up to the standard of like the elite level in Europe anymore. Which is fine, by the way, right? He's 40 years old these days, right? Is he 41? 40 or 41. But both against Germany and today as well too, I've looked at Cristiano and I'm thinking to myself, like, it looks like he's just keeping it simple now. I think Ronaldo at this point has finally kind of accepted what he can and can't do, which I do feel in the last few tournaments, maybe he hadn't accepted that yet because the way he was playing, I was looking at him sometimes like, you're still forcing these step overs. You're still trying to drift out wide. Like, just play what you can do at this point. Contribute how you can. We're not expecting the world from Cristiano, but don't try and do more than you can. But I watched the last 2 games, and I'm actually looking at Ronaldo, and he's contributing when he needs to, he's pressing when he needs to, he's linking up when he needs to, he's staying in the box when he needs to. And one thing Ronaldo he'll never lose is his instincts in the box. You put a ball into the box for this guy, more often than not, he's going to be able to read the flight of the ball and meet it. That I don't think you can ever lose. His instincts are still unbelievable. But I think more so than anything, I think Ronaldo at this point has finally accepted that for him to still be able to contribute to this Portugal team, less might be more. And I think you really saw it across both games. And another guy I really want to shout out for Portugal is Rafael Leao, who I think his cameo in the second half and then in extra time was huge for Portugal. Yes, he was up against tired legs, but again, just a different kind of X factor that he brought to the game that previously maybe you didn't see in the likes of Conceição and the likes of Pedro Neto or Bernardo Silva when he was playing out wide. Leao is a player that we know, first of all, when he's up for it, when he's on it, he can practically be unplayable at times. What's frustrating about him is he can be a little inconsistent. Throughout his career, he's shown that. But he has this remarkable blend of ridiculous strength crazy speed, amazing dribbling, and crazy trickery that when you combine it all together, he can really be one of the most unstoppable wingers on his day. I don't think anyone can disagree with that. Leao's talent level is crazy, but you just don't see it enough, especially for Portugal. At tournaments, I always feel a little underwhelmed by him. But today's cameo, I think, actually made such a huge impact for Portugal today because they couldn't handle him. They could not handle him at all. Whether it was Pedro Porro, whether it was whoever it was up against him, it was cash money. He was destroying his opposition fullback. And him and Mendes, in extra time in particular, were so good. So Portugal, I think they're worthy winners today, man. Obviously, Spain, they started the game really well. They were up 1-0, then they were up 2-1, courtesy of goals from Zubimendi, who I thought was Spain's best player today. I don't know about you guys, but I thought Zubimendi played really well today. And again, both in the game against France and today, I thought he really impressed. And if this is the kind of player that Arsenal are getting, man, that's a really good player, man. I think he's really going to be a good acquisition for the Premier League. I thought he took his goal really well, even though it was maybe suspect defending from João Neves, who started the game at right back of all positions. Oyarzabal continues his record of being a clutch player for Spain, taking his goal really well to make it 2-1. And Pedri, who I thought, again, had a really good game until he was substituted. And it's the second game now that Pedri is substituted, and it does feel like Spain lose an element of control, which I don't understand why teams continue doing. Even Barcelona this year have taken him off at weird times in games. Still not the most understandable for me, but I'd be disingenuous if I didn't talk about Yamal because, look, I praise Yamal to the heavens. I think he's arguably the best player in the world, and who's disgusting against France. But we also have to be honest as well, too, when he doesn't play that well. But the weird thing with Yamal today, right, is it wasn't so much that he couldn't get his game off. Like, it's not like he was just messing up every single time. But it's the first time I really looked at Yamal maybe in his entire career so far and just thought he was very passive. And that's not really something you can say too much about Yamal. Is that a fatigue thing? Is that like a mental thing? I don't know. I'm really a bit confused by Yamal's performance today because I think the whole world was expecting a bit more. The first half I thought he was pretty good, but the second half, genuinely, you could be forgiven for thinking he wasn't even playing. However, on the other side, Nico Williams had a really good game. Overall, right, it was a really weird game. I'm just going to say, it was a bad game. I did not enjoy this game whatsoever as a neutral. It was slow. It was pedestrian. I felt the best players on either team didn't show the best. I didn't think Bruno Fernandes had his best game. I didn't think Yamal had his best game. It really felt like a typical final. But amongst all of that, I am happy for Cristiano Ronaldo because I do think the last 3-4 years of his career have been very difficult. Both the move to Saudi, the way he left Man United, the World Cup in 2022, the last Euros where he didn't score a goal. It has been a difficult end to his career. And I always say it shouldn't really affect the way we think about his legacy because all the good that he has done can never be erased. He is one of the greatest players to ever grace this game, but we'd be lying if we said the last few years haven't been a tough watch. But I am happy for moments like this because whether you love Cristiano Ronaldo or you don't, one day he is going to be gone. One day he will no longer be playing football. You will never watch him ever again. And so I feel that the last moments should be moments that we kind of cherish him and celebrate him and be happy when he does celebrate good stuff because one day we won't even get the chance to do that. So on a day like today, I'm very happy for Cristiano Ronaldo. I'm very happy for Portugal, for a country that pre-2016 had never even won anything, right? I think their first World Cup was what, 2002? Like this isn't a massive footballing nation historically, but moments like this you can tell really matter a lot to them. And congratulations to Portugal. Congratulations to Cristiano Ronaldo. Sorry, the first World Cup was 1966. Eusebio versus North Korea, for those of us who remember. But yeah, guys, that's going to be it for me. I don't have too much to say about this game because honestly, I didn't think it was the greatest game. Like, share, subscribe, and we will be back tomorrow with yet another video. Peace.